Second the bill.
Okay, it's been seconded. Any other questions? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Harper.
Madam Chair, I do have several questions in regards to the vote by mail segment. Of course, I've been very concerned about previous bills related to issues of ballot harvesting and the overall concern of the movement of our traditional election system to a system that more simulates a union-style vote check card kind of system. So one of the speakers had, speakers had referenced this section, and this is one I'm particularly concerned about. Your bill allows a voter to be able to designate any person to deliver his or her vote by mail ballot, but it also repeals current law which states that the ballot, quote, shall not be returned by a paid volunteer worker of a general purpose committee, controlled committee, independent expenditure committee, political party, candidates campaign committee, or any group or organization at whose behest the individual designated to return the ballot is performing that service. And that was specifically referenced as Election Code Section 3017E. Why would we want to allow candidates, political campaigns, unions, and other political organizations to go door to door harvesting voters' vote by mail ballots? In fact, in a way in which maybe they observe the ballot being filled out and then taking it to the registrar of voters. What is the rationale for that?
So, Assemblymember, this was not. This is not at the heart of the bill, and this is not the. So just for you to understand, this committee passed AB 1921, and because the two bills touch upon the same section of code, we were asked to conform the two with the understanding that that bill is moving forward. We've made a very firm commitment to include the same provision prohibiting anyone from getting paid to collect ballots. So that issue that was raised by by David from the League of from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association, we're going to address. But ultimately, I understand your concern, Assemblymember, but your committee passed it out, and we've basically been asked to conform the language.
Okay.
So so if you have a quibble with it, which I understand, it's with AB 1921.
If I could clarify, that similar bill, AB 1921 by Member Gonzalez, stated that persons who return vote-by-mail ballots on behalf of voters may not be compensated based on the number of ballots they return. But your bill does not include that prohibition.
And as I just said, we're going to conform that because we're going to conform that. We're going to make sure that there's a provision making it so that people cannot be paid to collect ballots.
So in terms of the urgency, why do we need this kind of a system in terms of being able to have these political operatives return when we already have the ability of the registrar of voters to be able to receive these kinds of vote-by-mail ballots over 3 days or up to 3 days after the election if postmarked accordingly?
So I'm not understanding your question.
Why?
It seems I'm not sure if that's the issue for this bill.
I mean, the issues you're raising are legitimate concerns about AB 1921 that we've been asked to conform with our bill. But it's
and I'll be saying, because your bill has this, it's very legitimate to be able to get these questions out and fully aired out. In fact, one of the questions that was brought up by one of the speakers is that Colorado, for instance, Colorado law limits vote-by-mail ballots that someone can pick up to 10. But it was pointed out that someone could harvest up to 1,000 ballots, and actually there's no limit. It could be an unlimited number of vote-by-mail ballots that these political operatives could be touching, could be helping people fill out on their homes or on maybe in a union hall or another location. I think the concern needs to be aired out significantly in this committee, whether it's AB 1921 or whether it's this bill, before it becomes law, because I'm very concerned with how the direction of this state is going so far in the opposite direction of so many other states in terms of ballot integrity and the ability of people to intimidate voters by using these harvesting or perhaps ballot bounty hunter tactics.
I'm going to.
Secretary has a comment.
The Secretary has a response, but I'm going to say let's at least confine ourselves to the key issues in 450.
But this is
let me
a
finish
key
my.
issue.
Will you let me finish my statement? I think we've had the debate over the prior bill, the Gonzalez bill, that's there. This committee voted for it, and as a result, it will move forward. Whether it becomes law or not, it moves forward. But the key issue surrounding this is vote by mail is one piece, but that's not the key issue. We've done the vote by mail issue. The issue now are the voting centers and the extension of time for voting and those kinds of things that have some impact, obviously, that vote by mail will have an impact on because that's one of the components, a component that we have approved. This is another component. So I want to try to make sure we stay focused in that direction. Do not spend the morning debating what we debated 3 weeks ago, with no resolution, okay, that we don't want to continue down this path. So you've made your comment about that. Let him respond to it, but let's not continue to beat the same issue. You have a question about vote by mail and harvesting votes, those kinds of things. Mr. Padilla wants to respond to it, so let him respond.
Madam Chair, if I may say,
thank you
if
very
I may
much.
say,
What I
first-
heard-
You may not.
What
Hold
I
it.
heard was
You
that-
may not
Madam
right now.
Chair.
Excuse me. Will you let Mr. Padilla respond to your question?
Ma-
Then you can have another one.
Madam Chair,
No.
I'm just
no.
saying
I want
this is
Mr.
highly
Padilla.
relevant.
Excuse me. Mr. Padilla is going to respond to your question. Then you can have another one. Okay, Mr. Padilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to respond by saying I heard a couple of different issues intertwined in a question. You know, who should be eligible to deliver a vote by mail ballot on behalf of a voter is completely separate and apart with you know the new law that allows for a vote by mail ballot that's postmarked on election day and arrives within 3 days to be processed and added to the tally if verified. That's two very, very different things. You know, one of the easiest examples to look at as to why I think it's smart public policy to not limit it to only family members to return a ballot for you is if I'm at college voting by mail and I can have my roommate deliver to the mailbox for me, you know, if he or she is dropping off their ballot as well, why wouldn't we allow for something like that? Look, in this economy with so many people struggling, recent college graduates, a lot of people in the workforce now are doubling up in an apartment or in a home to afford the rent. So why limit it to the traditional definition of family for purposes of returning ballots when I think it's the policy of this committee and the legislature to facilitate civic participation? I think, you know, that's, I think, a very, very clear example. Now, if you want to put a numeric limit, a la Colorado, personally, I don't think that's the smart direction, but that's a policy decision for this legislature to entertain, and I believe you have and have spoken on that issue.
Thank you. Now, you had another question.
Well, I want to just state the point is that each of us who are on this committee get to be able to decide what's the key issue within a specific bill and be able to decide on their bill accordingly. It isn't just the chair or the majority party that gets to be able to do this. I'm personally very concerned about this issue of ballot bounty hunters, ballot harvesters, and changing the ways that we operate our elections, moving away from a secret ballot that's operated inside a polling place, which has a high level integrity, versus something that could very much distort the process of our elections. And so this has not been deleted. It has not been amended out of the bill, and certainly merits discussion whether it's in this bill or whether it's in 1921. We each have the ability to be able to discuss what's in the merits of the bill, and just because someone thinks that something else is more important, more power to you. But each of us have the ability to be able to decide on ourselves what's the important part of this bill, and I think that this part of the bill is the most destructive thing that we can do moving forward in our elections, and removing the integrity in terms of our ballot process. And I'm very concerned, and I think it deserves significant discussion by many parties.
Thank you. Mr. Nazarian, you had a question.
Thank you. First of all, I welcome my colleague to take a look at the LA City model of the elections where third parties cannot touch the ballot. So I don't think we've done anything to restrict that at the state level. So local districts and agencies have the opportunity to be able to put whatever guidance they see appropriate. And with that, I'd like to co-author the bill with you. Thank you for bringing this forward and creating a better opportunity for more people to vote. Maybe at some point we can also move forward towards having elections over a span of a weekend. It's more of a federal issue, but something that will allow.
That's what this lets us do.
It allows that. Yes, it does. It
The vote
does.
centers.
But thank you.
2 weekends, actually.
Well, nationally as well.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Mr. Lowe?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment that, as a millennial, particularly addressing these issues about younger individuals participating, certainly it's important and imperative that we continue to try to get individuals where they're at. So applaud that effort, and I'm also very supportive of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Any other comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
2 things. First, I don't want to belabor the points that were actually just made, I think, absolutely correctly by my colleague from Huntington Beach. But I would like to start out by saying that this is a big bill. I think everyone agrees on this committee this is quite a large bill. And I think that the issues related to AB 1921, the Gonzalez bill, and the ballot vote harvesting, and bounty hunters that would result from programs like these, I think they're extremely valid. I think that the voters of California would not like to see a system that is so easily corruptible. We have debated that issue before, however, and I think that, in all fairness to the bill and the many well-intentioned people, including the author, that have worked on this bill, there's really 2 separate issues that we're dealing with here. One is these vote centers, the vote center concept, and kind of streamlining our vote process, and is this the correct way to streamline it? I think that's really the central question that the author is trying to address in the bill. And then there's a separate issue of the 1921 and the ballot vote harvesting program. So my first question is would you consider, actually kind of dividing the question, would you consider excising from your bill the vote harvesting aspect and just to simply focus on the vote center so we could truly separate out these issues? And if some of us have issues with one side, which may be very valid, we might be able to simply consider the merits of the vote center.
The challenge we have with that, Assembly Member, is that both of the bills are addressing the exact same section of code, and so that's the problem, right? So it's basically chaptering amendments. That's what this is. I understand you have concerns with AB 1921, but this is a chaptering process. So we can't pass 2 different versions of the same code, and so we're trying to make sure they're in conformity. You're absolutely right. This was not the core of this bill is not what this bill's been. We've been working on it for a long time. The core question in the bill is the vote center model, but with 1921 moving forward, this became a problem. It became a chaptering problem that we have.
So I understand it's really a timing issue. I would think it'd be most appropriate to see 1921 die. And I know we passed it out of this committee, and it was quite contentious when it came through this committee as well. I'd like to see that whole process die and simply debate the merits of vote centers versus not. Now, in Colorado, where it was passed, there was a lot of dissension, actually, about whether this was a necessary system. The minority leader actually stated to the opposition party, I think the minority leader was a Republican and the majority was a Democrat. It was a Democrat bill. He said, "You're already winning elections. Do you need to steal them too?" So, and all the Republicans in Colorado voted against the vote center model. So there is some contention that this may unfairly advantage one party over another.
Though, with respect, after they passed it in one of the houses, Republicans actually gained a couple of seats. So, so it didn't, now people have come together in support of the program now. There was a lot of misapprehensions, I think, about the model.
See, and I think that's a very good point, and that's why I would really like to see this bill separated out. So I'm sensitive to your concept of this is a timing issue, and however, I just think that it really muddies the issue because I can't see anyone that's not in favor of ballot vote harvesting voting for this bill with this still in it. So nonetheless, that issue has, I think, been very well vetted by this committee. There's a separate question I have, which is, this is actually, since we have Secretary Padilla with us, there is a need to have necessary funding to acquire new voting systems and technology, which is really one of the core issues of this bill. And my question is, are these election technologies, such as the equipment software, have they been certified? Are they available in the marketplace for counties to transition to and update their voting systems as envisioned by 450? Has your office gotten through that process yet with those systems that would enable us, if this bill was to pass, to actually put this into place?
Right. So we have sort of three separate but related issues there. Number one, Senate Bill 450, the vision for how elections can and should be administered in the future by counties. Second is the equipment in place today, or when do we envision them being in place to facilitate this sort of voting model, including certification at the federal or at the state level. And then third, how are counties paying for this equipment upgrade? Because the reality is this really isn't doable with the existing equipment in the vast majority of the counties. So SB 450 is critical in establishing the marker, right? Setting the vision. Legislature should the legislature pass it, the governor sign it. This tells counties, you now have the option. This is where we want to go. We have brought to the attention of the legislature and the governor it's not quite crisis yet, but it's getting there quick on the need for new equipment. Period. Whether it's Los Angeles County or all 58 counties, we are nearing life expectancy on the systems that are out there. So sooner rather than later, we got to get together and figure out counties or a state-county partnership investing in new systems. I would hate to successfully appeal for hundreds of millions of dollars and buy the BlackBerry 2 versions of voting systems that are on the market today. Technology has come a long way since we deployed the election systems that we have today. 450 describes what we want to see. The technology is out there. We've seen it in Colorado and elsewhere. And now we just need to work together to figure out the financing plan for counties, I believe in a partnership with the state, to do that. So 450 is a step. The budget question is another step. But yes, the time is there. Should 450 pass and vendors or counties coming forward with systems for review and certification to have that in place by the 2018-2020 cycles.
Okay, so to clarify, much of this equipment and software that would be necessary for implementation of a bill, either this bill or another bill that would modernize our voting systems, those certifications have not all yet been completed by your office?
A lot of it is in place already. The crux of this new voting model is vote by mail, not to rehash what Senator Harper's bringing up, but vote by mail is in place today, right? How the ballots are designed, printed, mailed out, returned, processed, et cetera, that's in place today. It's more than 60% of Californians vote by mail. That'll continue to grow, I think, under 450. The option of giving voters flexibility of voting in a number of locations. There's more than half a dozen counties that already use a system known as ballot on demand, right? You go here to Sacramento County. If you're a Sacramento County resident, regardless of what precinct you live, and you show up at the registrar's office, on or close to election day, and you don't have the ballot that was mailed to you, or maybe you didn't request a vote by mail ballot, they can produce your custom ballot on the spot that reflects your assembly district, your senate district, your congressional district, et cetera. That technology is in place today, and that is at the crux of facilitating vote centers for people who walk in without the ballot that was mailed to them. So I'm just pointing out to a couple of the key pieces that already exist or already certified for use in California. 450 kind of ties it all together in a way that with the savings realized invested in public outreach and education really creates a successful model.
Okay, so it seems like some systems are in place, but others are kind of in the process of being certified. But if this was to go through and counties are starting to implement,
I'll give you another example. Right, the replacement of the paper rosters at the polling places with tablets or laptops, electronic access to the county's voter list. We're talking about e-poll books, which some counties are already using, and there's other systems that are currently in our office under review and certification. So we're getting there, and 450 gets us there quicker.
Got it. Madam Chair, thank you for your indulgence. Look, I really think there's two big issues in this bill, and one is, you know, the desire of all of us to make voting a more accessible experience and also a more honest experience. We really want to make sure there's not voter fraud out there and people are able to vote and not disenfranchised in the process. I think we've done a lot of work in this assembly, and there's been a lot of debate on, you know, how the best approach is to do that. And I think that there have been a lot of people that have been talking about the vote centers as being a viable alternative. I would really just like to reiterate that, you know, I think that issue should be considered on its merits solely, and I understand the issue with the timing. But yeah, of course, the chaptering issue, as I related the timing issue. But the problem I have still with the bill is that vote harvesting section is still in there, and I think that would be a massive disservice to Californians. So I appreciate the concept, and I understand the need, especially in California, you know, being the nation's most populous state, to a very efficient voting system where our voters are not disenfranchised and they can, you know, get out there and vote, and their voices can be heard. That's the beauty of the system. It's just that with that section in, regardless of why it has to be in, I still have to remain a no.
So, Senator Member, just for me to understand, so without that section relating to AB 1921, you're in support of the bill?
I'm a heck of a lot closer. You're exactly right, Senator.
That means you're in support?
No, he's
I'm closer. I'm absolutely, at this point today, if you were able to take those amendments today, I might very well be willing to pass this out of committee. So I would, if you're able to solve that issue, if you would like to come talk to me, I think that would be fantastic. And I think we really probably could get to a place where we could be looking good. Because the bottom line is as technology evolves, the voting process is going to evolve with it, right? We all know that the goal of our system is to have people's voices heard. And regardless of whether, you know, we had low turnout in one election cycle because there was truly nothing on the ballot to get anybody out, you know, was that what drove voter turnout, or was it because it was too difficult to get to their polling places? You know, I would contend that if the issues are big enough, people are going to come out to vote. But I think that we all agree with today's evolving technology and solutions that it would make a lot of sense to modernize our voting systems. And I think you've made really great strides in getting us there. That's really what I'd like to see. So if you are able to do that, please come to me, and I would, you know, I'd love to see if we can get some real bipartisanship on this, because as I mentioned, in Colorado, it was not a bipartisan process that put this in place, even though it might have helped out one of the partisan parties. And also when 1921 passed this committee, it was also not a bipartisan pass. So I think that there is some bipartisanship to be gained there, and I think that your heart's in the right place. And I think the voters would agree that they want to see, you know, the most up-to-date and modern system that enables the most people to vote.
Okay, you have a closing statement for us, Mr. Allen? Are you
Just
okay?
appreciate the discussion, appreciate all the hard work of everybody in the committee, and ask for your vote.
I want to thank the author and the authors for SB 450. And some have asked to be co-authors. I'd also like to be co-author on the bill. I think it's a major step forward.
Thank you.
This bill, clearly we're at a crossroad in elections in California. 450 proposes a major change in the way in which elections are conducted in the state. I think some of us have often wondered why we only have one day when we can see other countries and other places that have several days where people have an opportunity to vote, and the enthusiasm for going out to vote because it's convenient. It obviously has issues on the ballot that are important, but more importantly, it responds to the changing needs and the times of the individuals that are there. California is at that place. It seems as if we are now looking forward rather than constantly looking back and trying to tweak something that obviously only works for a small percentage of individuals, the one-day voting. I think we saw that in the presidential election in 2008, where people finally opened up on Saturdays and Sundays because they thought there would be a huge turnout. And people did come on Saturdays and Sundays for weeks to be able to vote for their first African-American president. And so I think those kinds of things clearly indicate to us that when clearly there's an interest, people will be there, but also when it's convenient, people will be there. And giving the changing demographics, the changing times, the changing lifestyles here in California, as well as a travel issue in transportation, that you've done that. I want to commend you for all the folks you've worked with. Everyone has said, even those who have some concerns and continue to have some concerns, and you will continue to work on those concerns to make sure that we are accessible, because that's the real goal, is to make it accessible to every citizen to be able to vote. That we will continue to work on those issues that ACLU has brought forward that represents the interest of a number of individuals. But even with those issues, the underlying issue is most of us believe that the system needs to change, that it is time to change, that this is a better movement that we're going in, and it puts California in a better place. As diverse as we are and as large as we are, it's going to be a challenge to implement this, but I think given the folks who are committed to doing it and giving our Secretary of State issue in terms of being the leader in terms of putting this forward in California and moving us forward with the largest city saying yes, 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 let's do it, I'm enthusiastic about it. I'm recommending a position of support for this bill, a tremendous enthusiasm for it. I want to thank those who worked so hard to make it a reality today, and we look forward to it moving to the floor. So at that point, we have a motion and a second. So let's have roll call.
The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Weber?
Aye.
Weber, aye. Harper? No. Harper, no. Travis Allen? Travis Allen, no. Gordon? Gordon, aye. Lowe? Lowe, aye. Mullen? Mullen, aye. Nazarian? Nazarian, aye. We have ayes 5, noes 2.
Thank you. That bill is out, and thank you so very much. We can open up the roll to those who are not here, so we'll go back over those again. We want to lift the call on. Do we have a bill that we have to lift the call on a couple of bills? Go ahead.
Item 2, SB 816 by Senator Hill. The motion is due pass and re-refer to Committee on Approps. Current vote is ayes 2, noes 2, with the chair voting, not voting. Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Mullen? Mullen, aye. Ayes 4, noes 2.
Okay, that bill is out. Okay.
Item 5, SB 1288 by Senator Leno. The motion is due pass and re-refer to Committee on Approps. Current vote is ayes 2, noes 2, with the chair voting aye. Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Mullen? Aye. Mullen, aye. Nazarian? Aye. Nazarian, aye. We have ayes 5, noes 2.
Okay, that bill is out.
Item 4, SB 1094 by Senator Hernandez. The motion is due pass and re-refer to Committee on Approps. Current vote is ayes 3, noes 2, with the chair voting aye. Mullen? Aye. Mullen, aye. Nazarian? Aye. Nazarian, aye. We have ayes 5, noes 2.
The bill is out. Okay.
And on consent is SB 927 by Senator Anderson. The motion is due pass consent. Gordon? Aye. Gordon, aye. Mullen? Aye. Mullen, aye. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other bills? Has everyone voted on all bills? I don't think so. I think we have. Have we? Do we? Maybe, because those are on call.
That's
Okay, fine. Everything's been voted on. The meeting is adjourned.